everybody. It is so great to have you guys here. It is Monday. It is 8:30. It is time for Conversations with Teresa. Let's go. So, we had such a great week. Last week when we had all the men on and we were talking about menopause, like, oh, right? And I'm really hoping that you guys got a lot out of that. I learned some new stuff from that. I don't know about you guys, but I think I had in my head um that the men folk were thinking like, oh my gosh, this is like so painful, like I can't stand it, or like it was just this terrible terrible time. And the folks that were on there, they didn't express that. They were talking about really how much they just wanted to help. They just didn't know, what to do. But even in their not knowing what to do, the things that I thought was the biggest problem, the being up at night or the hotness or whatever, that wasn't what they were concerned about. They were concerned about us being well and them being able to provide or set up the environment so that we could be our best. And so it was incredibly encouraging. It was just good to hear that, to hear a male's perspective. And it's interesting. I feel like my husband and I, that we talk often, we talk all the time, but I miss that. And so I was just grateful. I was really, really grateful to hear that. And I'm really hoping that you guys can see that too. So first off, it's just me tonight. You guys get a chance to hear from me. We won't stay on quite as long as normal. I got a little funny. So I woke up 3 o'clock in the morning, right, for no good reason. I blame everything on menopause, right? So I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and my mind's racing. And I think to myself, for no good reason, I think I'm pregnant, right? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, oh wow, maybe that's why I'm so tired. Maybe that's why I haven't had my period. Maybe that's what's going on. I think. And then I started going down this rabbit hole of I'm gonna be like 55 with this newborn baby, and what we're gonna name it is gonna be a boy. Like literally went down this whole hole of for rabbit, right? And then I remembered, maybe, I don't know, it seemed like 20 minutes later, but it probably wasn't that long. And I was like, I got my tubes tied. I'm not pregnant. Right. So I just started laughing to myself because, yeah, that was just how I started off my morning at 3 o'clock. I've been up since 3 o'clock. I'm a little tired. I'm a little loopy, but that's fine. It's all good. Um, I wanted to talk to you about tonight's topic, and it's really like menopause, or is life lifing? We got a lot of different things that go on in our life around this time, and so I've told my story again and again about all the different symptoms that hit me with perimenopause. Just boom, and I've heard a lot of different stories of people like that as well. Thought I was going crazy, anxiety to depression and all of that stuff. And then I remember when I spoke to my doctor, it actually wasn't my doctor, it was a what do you call it? The physician assistant. And they were asking me all these different questions, and they kind of chopped it up. As I read in the notes later, they kind of chopped it up. Think just your job, you probably just need to switch jobs, you're just feeling anxious from the job. And I'm like, I am feeling anxious from the job. But I was like, I think it's more. um and it just, then you start questioning, right? I started questioning stuff, but it made sense that maybe it was the work. The work wasn't hard. My job wasn't hard, but somehow it was hard for me at the time. So then I just kind of chopped it up. I was like, maybe this is it. Maybe it's just a job. Maybe I need to find a different job and things like that. But it was what she didn't ask me that was really the thing. Um, yes, I felt confused. I felt anxious. I did feel depressed, but I assumed that she knew my history. I assumed that she had gone over like all the different notes, the different things that I had been telling my doctor about being confused or being tired or gaining weight with no apparent change to my diet. Um, the period changing, heavier, lighter, the cramps harder, my migraines were so much more intense. And because again, I might be saying this over and over again, but because it didn't happen all at once, they had been happening along the way. I didn't put it all together. I just thought this is what happens when you get older, right? Because I didn't know to look for any signs. So that's what I was assuming. But I think had she dug a little deeper, it may not have just been passed off as, the job. So yes, lots of different things, low energy, forgetful, all of that stuff. And then, again, I looked into, like, I think it's called My Chart or Patient Gateway or something like that. And I was like, no, there's more. There's more here. So yes, getting older, right? It seems to make sense, but that wasn't the end of the story. And the reality is that perimenopause could not come at a worse time in our life, right? There's so many different things that's going on. Like when it shows itself, when perimenopause shows itself, it's usually around the time that we are like thriving at work, we're doing our thing, we might be bossing it up, right? Things are, our kids are getting a little bit older, they're doing their thing. We might be empty nesters, we got feelings about that. We could be caring for elderly parents, kind of sandwiched in. I think they call it the sandwich generation. Our bodies are changing, our minds are changing. There's so many different things that we could throw our hands up and be like, that's enough. Like, I can't take any more. And so then we start kind of blaming ourselves, or we don't even know ourselves anymore to blame. Like, there's just so much confusion. And because the conversation, again, is not happening enough, we can easily get confused and think that, is it lifing? Am I depressed? I don't know what's going on. But a couple of things to look out for. And I'm going to kind of leave you guys with this thing. You might be feeling totally overwhelmed. You might be feeling that depression. You might be feeling that anxiety, all of that stuff. But think about, are your periods changing? Lighter, heavier, more cramps, less cramps, whatever the change is it changing, right? And then think about the physical changes. Like, are you finding yourself like super hot, feet cold, itchy ear, frozen shoulder, you name it? I heard that there was nearly 100 different symptoms that we could have, right? I'm not really sure. Thankfully, I haven't experienced all of those things, but that's a reality. Like, are those things happening? And then if you're thinking, am I just going crazy? Am I depressed? Do I suddenly have anxiety? Are those things happen? Did those things happen before? Or are they just starting to happen now? And those are some things that you can start thinking about. Like, let me start putting it together. Now, in no way, shape, or form am I a doctor or, certified medical anything. I just know my experience. And as I'm talking to more and more people, here are the things that we're talking about. Here are the things that I'm discovering. And I just don't want you guys to be out there like, what in the world is going on? Right? So, again, I'm not trying to give you any type of medical advice, but what I want you to do is to pay attention to you. Pay attention to your body. Don't just, discard something just because, oh, it's because I'm getting older. It could be, but it doesn't mean that it's not happening. So take it seriously. Get that journal that we talked about. Write it down. You might write down 2 things in a year, but those things are happening to you. And because it's happening to you, it's important. So make sure that you're taking the time to write it down and talk to your doctor. Go to your primary. If they're not listening, go find somebody else. I know it's not easy in these days, but find someone who's going to listen and hear what it is that you have to say. Until then, please remember, I am a transformational coach. I will be there if you need to talk. You want to set up a one-on-one time with me, I would be more than happy to speak with you. It's on my website under coaching, and down the bottom, it's that one-on-one. You can click that and set up a time with me. I would love to speak with you, hear your story, and just help you help you navigate through this time. So I am always thrilled to be with you, and I look forward to continuing the conversation. My ambassadors, if you guys are still out there, you are still out there. I know you are. Keep talking about it. Keep talking about it. All right. Because we need to have this conversation. It's not a one and done. I remember we were talking with Ruby. It's been, I think it was about 20 years that she kind of went through all of her stuff, you know? And so this could be us. All right. Wherever you are in the situation, tell a friend about this podcast, set up some time with me, whatever it is that you need to navigate this, because we can do this. This is natural. It will happen in some way, shape, or form. Let me help. All right. Until then, have a phenomenal week. We're just at the start. And so we got a lot of great things that can happen. I look forward to seeing you guys again next Monday, 8:30. Peace out.